John Finlayson called his daughter Nina on December 1st of last year. Nina, a 27-year-old black woman, was living in her first apartment in Lancaster, California. It was the first time she was able to host family members for the holidays. The father talked about Christmas gifts and about his plans to get her a car. 3 days later, all those plans were cut short. Nina called authorities on December 4th during a domestic incident, stating that her boyfriend would not leave her home. An audio later released by the sheriff's department from a 911 call, Finlayson can be heard shouting for help. Nina can then be heard screaming on the call and reportedly telling a man to get off of her, Bradley Gage, who the family's lawyer has confirmed was a former boyfriend. Angeles County Sheriff's Department responded to the call, arriving at Lancaster apartment complex, some 44 miles outside of Los Angeles. In the body cam footage released by the department last week, Finlayson can be seen holding an object that authorities described as a kitchen knife. Finlayson's 9-year-old daughter appears to tell officers that the man at the home had been pushing her. Finlayson grabbed the man while holding the knife. She told police that she was going to, quote, stab him because he'd harmed her daughter that evening. Deputy Ty Shelton fired 4 shots within seconds of arriving inside, taking the life of Nina in front of her daughter. Finlayson's boyfriend was arrested for child AB and assault on a police officer, but was later released. Nina's father stated that he believes that the shooting was not justified. He now has to care for his 2 granddaughters. Nina's family and the lawyers want to know why officers at the scene did not de-escalate the situation. Video shows Shelton entering the apartment holding both a stun gun and a firearm. Mr. Finlayson stated that he wanted his daughter to live with her 2 children in Lancaster to avoid volatile encounters with police. He also stated that Nina aspired to be a nurse and that she loved her 2 daughters and her family. Gage, a civil rights attorney, filed a claim signaling a $30 million lawsuit in state court, but he says that the county could move the lawsuit to the federal level, alleging wrongful death. Gage is also demanding that the district attorney file murder charges against Shelton. I want to say my condolences to the family, to the father who was present, who was always there, who wanted the best directly for his daughter. He wanted her to move into a better situation, a safer area or neighborhood, so he thought, so that she would not have to deal with the same police that they have more than likely dealt with in their area for a very long time. All for this to turn around and her having those exact same incidences of which the father wanted her to move away and to get away from. I know that this has to be a very trying and heartbreaking situation for this father, again, who only wanted the best for his daughter and his 2 granddaughters. I know this has to be a very, very tough time for him at this moment in time. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. I'm so sorry that you have to try to figure out, potentially what you did wrong, or maybe if you would have just allowed her to stay, would this have, still taken place and happened. Again, I'm so sorry that this happened because it's something that realistically, it did not need to happen at all. So from what I was able to gather online, to your right is Ty Shelton. And this is the man that inevitably ended up taking her life. As which was stated directly in the article, there should have been some type of de-escalation that should have taken place. A direct 4 shots should not have happened. It shouldn't have. There should have been some type of talking back and forth to try to ease her mind, to try to calm down the situation so that you can have both people in custody, get a report, sort everything out, and take everything from there. That would have been some great police work, but that's not what took place. He decided that it was a great call to proceed to get directly to the scene and fire shots directly at Nina, taking her life. And then later they arrested the boyfriend for, I guess, putting hands directly on the daughter, and then also hands on the police. He more than likely put hands on the police because he was like, yo, what are you doing? Why did you, you know, it was probably that whole emotional thing. And again, you have two people in the situation that were very emotional because they were dealing with their own situations, at the place. Number one, he should not have been there at all. And he is also to blame as well, right? There are three people, in a sense, to blame at this moment in time. Number one is going to come down to the cop because he is a law. He is the order. He is the individual that is supposed to, make the great and the good judgment calls, right? He is supposed to save lives. Chances are very great that Nina was not going to decide that, oh, I'm going to sit up there and do this. The moment in time that somebody says that they're going to do something, chances are very great that they're not going to do it. They're just stating that out of emotional banter, because if she was going to do it, she would have been did it because, again, she had the knife for a very long time, right? Number two comes down to the boyfriend. Police would not have ever have had to have been called if the boyfriend would have decided just to stay on his own side of the block, his own side of the street, his own side of the neighborhood, wherever he's from, wherever he was before he got there, that's where he should have stayed. Which means that Nina would have been still alive, which means that Nina would have still been able to see her children at the end of the day, which means that her father would be able to also see his daughter, right? They'll be able to celebrate and do all the things that normal people are able to do every single day. But that's not possible because now lives are changed because of two people's decisions. Now, what I'm about to say, I know it is going to be huge disagreement. And again, I'm not, in a sense, siding. I'm looking at this from the information that I have, and I'm looking at every single role that everybody had to play. And this is without emotions being directly on the field. I'm looking at how everybody played a role, how everybody was at fault for the parts that they played. And last but not least, Miss Nina, who is the mother of two, who is the daughter of Mr. Filesa. If at that one specific moment she would have opted just a split second to just try to, separate the emotions and be like, you know what, the police are here. Everything is fine. Let me just drop the knife and let me put this directly to the side so, things won't seem a different type of way. So I won't appear or seem to be as a threat since I am the one who actually initially called for help because my boyfriend was, directly, at the place and he decided to, try to get in a back and forth and physical altercation directly with me and my daughter, right? If she would have just made that split second decision, things very easily could have been vastly different. Again, I've never seen the video. I don't know how it is that she was holding the weapon. I don't know how close she was holding the weapon. I don't know if she was pointing the weapon towards or away. I don't know how she even had him grabbed, if it might have been a headlock or whatnot or what have you. But again, if at that moment she would have just broke through and be like, you know what, let me just drop this now. Let me just put this, let me be like, all right, and toss it directly to the side. I'm pretty sure that she would have been fine and dandy and she would have still been here at this moment in time. The worst that she would have had to deal with would have been how it is that the police would have decided to, arrest her, how tight the cuffs were, if they decided to put a knee directly, on her back or anything like that. That probably would have been the worst of the situation. She still would have been, alive. She still would have been here directly with, her two children and especially her father, who I know is missing her a lot. And again, like I said before, this is, again, looking at this without any emotions directly involved. This is looking at the situation and how it is. Yes, I do understand that there is a problem with police in the Black community, how it is that we are seen, how it is that we are perceived, how it is that they are trained. We do understand that it has not gotten better since people have been pointing these things out. But all I'm stating is that if things would have played a little bit differently, lives would have still been here. Lives would not have been changed so drastically as they are right now. Because the most hurt people that are here are her daughters who don't have their mother anymore, and her father who raised, who watched this little girl, who probably sat up there, heard her say her first words, take her first steps. He then probably took her maybe to a father-daughter dance, maybe took pictures with her for prom, there for graduation. He is still here. He is still present. He's still active in her life. And now he can no longer be active in her life. Not because he's gone, but because of the loss of life that took place. Again, I am so sorry for, the loss of life that took place here. I am so sorry that your daughter is no longer here. I wish things could have been different.